What is good, my YouTube fam? So today's vlog is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of just a mindset chat with you guys, and we're going to be talking about overcoming self-doubt. Because here's the thing about self-doubt, okay? Self-doubt be killing more dreams than failure ever will, because self-doubt stops you from even going for your goals before you even get the chance to go for them, which is worse than failure, because at least when you fail, you're learning from your mistake and you move forward closer to your goals. But if you just never act because self-doubt stops you from ever acting, then you're even further from your goals than you were if you tried and failed. That is why I really want to touch on this topic today and just give you guys my top tips on overcoming self-doubt and how you can start moving effectively towards your goals, tuning that voice in your head down and turning up the voice that's going to get you closer to where you want to be. Self-doubt is a voice that lives in everybody's head, like every single person. Nobody is immune to the feelings of self-doubt that come and just pop up and try to haunt us, right? Everybody has those negative thoughts that pop up in their head and try to stop them from doing what they need to do. But it's not about the thoughts that you have, it's about how you go about them and how you choose to respond to them. So if you have a negative thought and you have a self-doubt thought and you embody it and you take it on as true, then yes, of course it's going to be true. For example, let's say you want to start a new business, but this negative self-doubt thought in your head is coming in and saying, oh, you could never be successful. You could never start your own business. You don't know how to do that. And then you take that in and you embody it. Well, yeah, of course, you're never going to go for the thing and you're going to have doubt in yourself because you believe the thought to be true when it doesn't necessarily have to be true until you embody it. Just because the thought is there doesn't mean that it has to be acted on or embodied. So that is the first thing to just kind of take notice of and take inventory of. And the business venture is just an example. This can pop up in many different ways in our life. And if you're watching this, you're probably thinking of one in your head that you have a common self-doubt thought of. It could be financially, it could be as far as your fitness, it could be body image, it could just be feeling like you're not good enough or feeling like you're not worthy. But again, it's all about how we go about navigating it. How do we choose to respond to that thought when we have it? Do we take it in and we're like, you know what, yeah, you're right, I could never do that, I could never start that business venture? Or do we tell that voice, hey, you know what, no, fuck you, I can do this and I got this under control, right? So the way I like to think of it is the self-doubt voice is gonna live in your head, but you can turn it down like a radio station, right? Like you can turn down the frequency. It might not be going anywhere, it might still live in your head, but we can just turn down how actually true it is. And if we can turn down the self-doubt in our head and start turning up the voice that cheers us on, that tells us that we can do it, that tells us that we are worthy, that tells us that we can do anything that we set our minds to, the more times that we can tune that frequency down and turn up the one that's cheering us on, the more we're gonna start to overcome our self-doubt. And that is when we start making movements forward towards our goals. That is the way I like to think of it in my head. Remember, we're not getting frustrated that the voice lives in our head because it's always gonna be there, but we're just saying, hey, you know what, voice, I see you, but you're gonna have to fuck off for a second because I got some goals to reach and you're not helping me get there, so I'm gonna just kindly place you over here out of my fucking way and I'm gonna keep getting after it, okay? So 3 tips that I have on just overcoming self-doubt. One is just the overall self-awareness of the negative thought that is happening. Saying, hey, you know what, I'm having this thought that is pretty consistent, that's working against me, and I just need to be more aware that it's here and take notice of it, take inventory of it without fully acting on it and embodying it. And that is a huge step in itself, being mindful, being self-aware, and again, just being like, hey, you know what, this is something that's happening, because sometimes we just go through life on autopilot and we don't even realize how much we're being affected by the thoughts that are in our heads. So creating that space of self-awareness where we can notice a thought and kind of pick it out before we actually act on it is huge. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is identifying what the voice in your head is that continues to pop up with the negative thought and really just shining light on it and coming down to the root of why it might be there. So let's continue to use the example, starting your own business venture, right? Let's say you have these feelings of feeling like you can't have it, feeling like you're not able to do it, feeling like you're unworthy. Well, what's really the root of those feelings? Like, why do you really feel that way? Is it just fear? Is it feeling like, you know, maybe somebody made you feel like you weren't worthy in the past, so now you just feel like you aren't worthy? You feel like you don't have enough knowledge around it? Start nurturing those areas. Start watering those areas. If you feel like you're not knowledgeable, take little baby steps to start learning and watch a YouTube video on how to go about starting your own business venture. If you feel like it's an area of fear, you know, acknowledge that and shine light on that. Write a whole page of what am I really afraid of? I promise you, you're probably creating more fake scenarios in your head that you're getting scared of that are super unrealistic. And when you actually take the time to write it out, there's not going to be that many that can't be solved. So really just shining light on the issue instead of letting it live in your head and just continue to feed you those negative things. And tip number 3, this is a huge one, you guys. Taking it day by day. Whatever it is your goal is that you're trying to achieve, stop trying so hard to rush yourself and go from 0 to 100. Like, when you're trying to put all this pressure on yourself to go from where you are to where you have dreams of being, you're putting so much unnecessary stress on yourself and you're overwhelming yourself to a point of never wanting to start. For example, let's say, going back to the business example, we'll just stay consistent with that. If you haven't even started your business, don't compare yourself to somebody who has been in business for 8 years, because that's just not realistic and you're gonna overwhelm yourself. So just tackle the day-by-day tasks that you need to do to get to where you wanna be. Rather than focusing on the big picture quite yet, just focus on like the little micro tasks that you can do on the day-to-day that will further you. Again, we're not looking for 0 to 100. We're looking for just 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then you'll collectively over time get to 100 without overwhelming yourself. What's the rush? Like, just do things at your own pace and your own timing anyway. I think that this generation and this age, it's very natural to compare yourselves to other people's journey, and you know, in doing that, it stops a lot of people from ever starting, because they look at somebody and they're like, oh, I could never be like that, or oh, I could never have that. When in reality, those same people that they're comparing themselves to are still having the same exact self-doubt thoughts as you. Like, I promise you, your idols struggle with self-doubt every single day. Nobody is immune to it. Nobody is a special case. But the reality is, and kind of like the hard pill to swallow, is they're just managing it better than you are. They're not letting it hold them back. They're taking the self-doubt thoughts, shining light on them and saying, okay, what do I need to address and how can I move forward, rather than letting it crush them. So that's what you guys need to be inspired by. I myself struggle with self-doubt every single day. Like, I definitely have a doubtful thought that pops in my head at least once a day, whether it be about business, whether it be about prep, whether it be about, you know, anything. Like, they happen, but I just choose not to become the thought and to let it affect me in a way that it actually becomes true. Like, do you know how many times I've been on cardio or been in a training session or just even been in a day on prep and been like, oh my God, I literally am not gonna make it through this day. I'm not gonna make it through this session. I'm not gonna make it through this workout. Like, I don't see myself making it. That's a self-doubt thought right there. And even though it happened, and even though I might have really felt it at the time, you keep going and you keep pushing and you keep persevering. And honestly, when you get over those self-doubt moments, you feel so good and accomplished and prosperous. You're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck that thought that just popped in my head, because you know what? It tried. It really thought it was gonna try to knock me off my course, but you know what? It couldn't even knock me off my course, because I still made it out on the other side, and I said fuck you to that thought. So that is really, like, it feels good. It's a good winning feeling to overcome your self-doubt. And as you continuously do that, you build momentum, you get stronger, you want to overcome even more, and you know, you basically are just like building up you're building up your shield to the self-doubt. Like, each time it just phases you less and less and less, because you know you've overcome it before and you know you can overcome it again, and you know that your goals on the other side are stronger and more important to you than letting that one little thought knock you off your path. And it is just so empowering, but it just takes taking that first step. It takes deflecting that first negative thought for you to start this cycle and start this process, and that can be the hardest part. But I'm hoping that whoever is watching this video, if you do feel like you are struggling in this area, that this inspires you to just go for it. Again, you can't get better at saying no to your self-doubt thoughts if you never practice saying no, right? So that's where you have to just take that first step and say no. Become aware of the thought, say, you know what? you're not true. You're just something that's coming up in my head to try to keep me where I am, but that's not where I'm going. I'm going somewhere greater, and I'm gonna start overcoming that today by saying no to this first thought, and you'll start building your momentum from there. So that is what I got for you guys. I hope this was helpful. I know this is kind of like a little mini just mindfulness rant, but it was something that I really have been thinking about a lot throughout the process of my prep because, you know, I've definitely had to overcome a lot of self-doubt during this process, and there's definitely been days that I feel like people don't see throughout my prep where I have really struggled. And, you know, I always want to be transparent about kind of like what I've gone through, and not only what I've gone through just to like tell you guys, you know, where I'm struggling and what I'm going through, but also like my main takeaways from it and what I've learned from it, so I can continue to share that with you all and just spread the knowledge, spread the wealth. Like, I want you guys to succeed, and overcoming self-doubt and just really like building up this strength has helped me in a lot of different areas of my life. So that is why I wanted to share it with you all. That is what I got for you guys for the little mini mindset vlog. I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope this was helpful. If you are struggling with those self-doubt thoughts, one, just know you are not alone, and two, just take this as an opportunity. Like, you're watching this video for a reason right now. This is your sign to put that voice in the passenger seat and say, you know what, I get that you're there, but you're gonna have to buckle up and stay right there because I'm driving this shit to my goals, and you are not gonna get in my way. You can stay right there, like you can be there, but you're gonna have to be right there because I'm driving this thing. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not already to stay up to date with all of the newest vlogs. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. I am, by the time you guys are watching this, I will be 10 days out from my show, so I am super excited. And again, I did want to share this with you guys just in light of my prepping process. I have learned a lot about overcoming self-doubt throughout my process, so it's all correlated, it all goes together. But yeah, you are more powerful than any negative thought that tries to work against you. Just remember that. I will see you guys in the next vlog.